Hi, welcome to Pro Stitcher Designer Tips and Tricks. Today I am going to share with you how you can use the effects feature in Pro Stitcher Designer. First of all, we need to make a shape. So I'm coming up to artwork and I'm going to click on it and let's make a triangle. So here I've made a triangle. I'm coming up to my select tool on the left side so that it is selected. Now on the right side, these panes down at the very bottom of the panes, you'll notice that I have the sequence pane selected so that you can see the sequence pane or the sequence of the design elements that I make. What I want to do is come over to the star. That is the effects. So I'm clicking on effects. Now the first effect that I want to talk about right now is the grid. That's the very bottom. Here it's fill, and that's the very bottom on the bottom line, and as you mouse over it says grid. So I'm clicking on grid, and then you'll notice that it applies the grid within the shape that I have created. That's kind of a dense grid, and I don't want it that dense, so I'm going to come up and I'm going to select it, and let's see, I'm going to make it a 22 just so that it's easier to see for a second. So I'm clicking apply. So there you can see the grid. So if you've got triangles on your quilt that you want to do a design in, you can put a grid. You can easily make a grid that you can then quilt on those pieces or those shapes on a quilt. Now this, if you come up to the right side, you'll notice under pattern it says single. If you left click on it, you'll get a drop down list, and it has double and triple. That's how many lines will be on your grid. I'm going to select double, and then I'm clicking apply. I'm going to scroll in using the mouse wheel to scroll in a little bit, so you can see that there are two wavy lines on this grid. I'm coming over to the right side, and I'm left clicking, and I'm dragging down to triple, and I'm clicking apply. And now you'll notice that you have 3 wavy lines in your grid. So I'm going to come out a little bit. So that is how you can put a grid on a block on your quilt for any shape that you want. Okay, let's see. What I'm going to do now is let's come over. The next one is stippling. I'm going to click on that, and it will add stippling inside the shape. You'll notice if you come up to the right top, it says under the pattern, it says maze. So that is the type of stippling that it just automatically filled your shape with. I'm going to click apply, and I want you to watch the stitch out. Coming up to preview, it will stitch this out as a maze, and it's just kind of a random pattern, and so it just is kind of a different kind of a stippling if you like the maze look. I'm coming back over to tools, and I'm clicking on my select tool, and I'm selecting my triangle, and now I'm coming over to the right side, and under pattern I'm left clicking on maze, and I'm selecting Hilbert, and now I'm applying. Hilbert is just the kind of the random stippling that you would do freehand. Now I'm coming back up to the pattern, and I'm left clicking on Hilbert, and I'm dragging down to piano, and I'm applying that. You'll notice that the difference between this and the other stippling effects is that the stippling goes horizontal. I'm going to scroll in a little bit. So the stippling is horizontal. Sometimes in free motion stitching, they call this like a water or maybe a woodworking type of a design. in free motion quilting. Okay, let's see. I'm going to delete that and I'm going to show you something else. I'll make a heart. So I'm clicking on artwork and I'm dragging down to heart, made a heart. I'm coming over to my select tool so that the heart is selected. And the next fill that I want to show you is this wavy. So I'm clicking, and it's on this bottom row. I'm clicking on wavy, and it will put wavy lines inside whatever shape you've created. Now this is kind of dense to see what it's going to be like, so I am going to change that. Let's see, let's do an 8, and I'm clicking apply there. So you can see now what that wavy pattern would look like. So it does not stitch out the heart outline or border. This is just a wavy design that would be stitched out in the heart shape. I wanted to show you something else. So I'm going to delete that and I am going to make a rectangle. So there's my rectangle. I'm coming over to the left side and I'm clicking on the select tool so that the rectangle is selected. And now I'm coming to the top row of the fill options and I'm coming over to the third one over, and it's shape. So as I click on the shape, it will automatically fill that whatever shape I've made with this design. Now as we come over and look under pattern, the default that it's filled is like a circle. Let's change the density here to a 6 so that you can see it a little bit easier. So that's kind of like a spiral pattern. Now it does not stitch outside lines of whatever shape you have. It will just stitch this, what you have as a fill within that shape. Now what I want, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. So let's come back over to the pattern, and I want to show you, as I left click, there's a drop down list of a whole bunch of different designs that you can put within your shape. Let's just choose like this diamond, and I'm going to say apply. So you can have a diamond within your shape. Oh, and there's a heart here. That's a fun heart. Let's see, let's do, what's 103 look like? Oh, so that's like a star. So when you choose this down below and the fill as a shape, then you have all of these different shapes that can be stitched out within whatever artwork or whatever shape you have here. Now, to maybe make it a little bit easier to understand about stitching around the outline, in addition to stitching the fill, I'm going to show you something really fun. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to come to auto digitize. Now, have you watched the video that I made about taking clip art and turning it into a design that you can stitch? If you haven't seen that, please hop over and watch that. So I've got another silhouette that I'm going to turn into a design. So I'm clicking on auto digitizing, and I'm going to browse. It's a cowboy boot silhouette. So here it is. Click on that, and that's the silhouette. And I'm clicking on open, and then I'm clicking next and next and finish. So there I have my cowboy boot. So I can choose or I can fill this cowboy boot with these different fill features. But to do that, remember I said that it will fill it with whatever fill effect I put in, but it doesn't stitch an outline. Well, I want an outline stitched around the boot in addition to the fill that I'm going to put in the boot. So I'm going to come up and I'm going to select copy, and then I'm selecting paste. And now I'm coming over to the right side, and down below the panes with the effects, if I mouse over, you know, the icons down here, the one on the far left is the sequence pane. and I'm clicking on that. This shows the elements that you have, the different design elements that you had. So I've got 2 cowboy boots. One I want to fill with the design, and one I want to stitch as the outline. So I'm just going to select the top one, and I'll just convert that to stitches, so that will stitch the outline of the cowboy boot. So you'll notice that I've selected it. So I'm right clicking, and then I'm dragging down to convert to, and then to running stitches. So then it will stitch the cowboy boot outline. Now I'm going to put the fill effects in the second one. So I'm clicking on the second one, and I'm coming down here, and I am going to click on the effects. That's the star. So I'm clicking on that, and I think I'm just going to fill it with a stipple. So I'm clicking on stippling, and I don't want it to be a maze. So I'm going to come up to the top under pattern, and I'm going to select Hilbert, and I'm going to apply. And oh, I think I'm going to do this like micro stitching, so I'm going to make it smaller. Now you can either select it and type the number on your keyboard there, or you can use these arrows to go up and down. And I'm going to use the arrow. I'm just going to take it down to like 2.5 to make it micro stippling. Now remember, depending on the design that you have or the shape that you have the fill in, you might have jumps as you stitch out. And so as you can see with all of these lines, there are going to be quite a few jumps. But I don't care, because when I stitch this out, I'm just going to have one of them stitching out. So let's go and watch this stitch out. So I'm coming up to preview, and there's the stitch out, and it will stitch out the outline of the boot, and then it will stitch out the fill, which is the stippling. Now I'm using my scroll on the mouse so that I can get it on the screen and you can see the whole thing better. Okay, let's watch it stitch out. There's the outline of the boot, and now it's filling the boot with stippling. Let's see, I'm just going to make it really fast so that you can just don't have to wait and watch it take so long. So that is one way that is super fun way that you can use the fill effects in Pro Stitcher Designer. So I hope this helps you understand how you can use the different fill effects in Pro Stitcher Designer. Thanks so much for watching Pro Stitcher Designer Tips and Tricks.